Alright. I'm gonna call this meeting to order. You can all rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One day. Roll call. Clerk Scott Dillman absent. Robin Bruni here. Ben Detloff
Here.
William Morgan.
Here.
Frank Bassini here. Morgan Laurel here. Susie Weedle. Susie Weedle. Present. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry, I'm also taking notes for this meeting. Is there a motion to approve minutes that are dated for our board meeting 12/18/2023?
I'll make a motion to approve the board minutes of December 18th, 2023 as presented.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Thank you, ma'am. Ben Detloff, I'm sorry, Ben.
Yes. You need an extra.
I'm asking for a vote, right?
Oh, okay, these usually start first.
Oh, that makes the motion. That was me though. Oh, that was you. Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Gary.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Robin.
Yeah.
Ben.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Morgan. Yes. Susie.
Abstain.
Oh, yes, sorry. You're right. Yeah.
Excuse me, we can't hardly hear you. Can you speak up a little?
Yes, sir, I will. JD, can you turn the furnace off? Thank you. We'll give the furnace a minute to stop running. Oh, go ahead.
I move to approve the meeting of the whole minutes from December 27th, 2023 as presented.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, ma'am. Gary,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Susie.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, under public comments, our first, we have Miss Carol Detloff. You could come up to this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carol Detloff. I've been asked by the chairman of the festival committees, my husband, Ben, to announce the launch of a quilt raffle we're going to be doing in conjunction with our February fundraiser, the Cabin Fever Reliever. And I want to thank the village president and the board members for the time tonight. Our business, our quilt shop, Rocking Chair Quilts, is going to sponsor this raffle. And this is going to allow 100% of the ticket sales to go right to the festivals fund. All the printing costs and the web hosting is all paid for, donated. And for those who don't already know, the festivals fund is all donations from previous festivals. It's not residents' taxpayer money. So it supports Fall Fest and other community events. And if there's residual money, it goes into maintenance of parks, specifically this one. Okay, quilt raffle tickets are going to be available starting now, and they're going to be sold all the way through the event of February 17th, and they can be purchased at the event. And it can be bought in person from festival members and around town, but this year, for the first time, we're going to have online sales. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. We usually have an audience of 2. So at the conclusion of the raffle, a complete accounting of all the money raised will be given to the board, and later will be available at the Village Hall if anybody wants to review that. And if anyone here tonight would be like to be a part of helping the community, I'm looking for ticket sellers. It's all very organized, and you'll be given a packet. And if you can't make a decision tonight, see me later, or any member of the board will help you out. And so Debbie Morgan is our decorating committee chairman for the festivals committee, and they picked a theme out of hibernation. So the quilt we made is in conjunction with that. It's called the Bear Paw design. And the Bear Paw quilt block has been used by quilters since as far back as the 1850s. So it goes in with our old tiny town. And to help promote ticket sales, we're gonna have these posters around town. You have the ability to buy tickets online using a code. If there's anybody in the gallery that has a workplace or a business where they would be willing to put this up to the festival committee, just see me after the meeting. And that's about all I have. I thank the board and Madam President for your time and the gallery. Thank you.
Carol, I'm sorry, ma'am. How much are the tickets?
The tickets are gonna be $3, but if you buy multiples, you can get 6 for 15. Or if you buy as many as 10, the price goes down to $2. But $3 a chance, and it only takes one ticket to win.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Carol. And I'm sorry, what was the online place that they could go to?
Well, it's gonna be, it's hosted on my website,
Okay,
page
sorry.
on my website. There'll be a link to it. We'll be putting it up on the Grant Park Festival's Facebook page. You can link to it that way,
Okay,
and it'll be on these posters too.
okay, thank you. On a positive note. Sorry. Next,
Matt Schrun.
no rush.
No rush, right? Good evening, board. As the chairman of the Village of Grant Park's Planning and Zoning Commission, I'd like to speak to the board on behalf of the two recommendations that were made during our meeting on December 21st. The commission that evening had 5 members present who heard testimony and remarks from the audience. In the presented ordinance that evening to the PZC, it was outlined under Articles 9-21(4), 5, and 6 for adult use cannabis grower, cultivation centers, and dispensaries that the facility may not be located within 1,000 feet of the property line of existing public or private nursery schools, preschools, primary and secondary schools, daycare facilities, daycare homes, or residential care homes. Throughout the facts and findings of the hearing, a recommendation was made by the commission that additional text be added to the proposed distances to include parks and residential R1 and R2 property lines. This recommendation was based on the outline that if we as a community and the village board don't wish to have a grow facility, cultivation center, or dispensary within 1,000 feet of our schools where our children are in a secured and protected environment, then why would we deem it acceptable to allow an ordinance fostering the location of such business within 1,000 feet of a park where those same children are playing? Additionally, the commission outlined that the special use of such facility didn't seem fitting in the location given based on the proximity and adjoining to a residential property line with an excessively close distance to that residence. Located just north of the property is an I-1 industrial zoned area in which the zoning ordinance could also have great effect if passed as is. This could potentially allow the construction and development of a facility under 9-21-4 and 5 for cultivation and or grow facilities in such proximity to parks and residential neighborhoods. Prior to the committee of the whole meeting held on December 27th, I had no communication with a village board member or the mayor regarding the matter presented before us on December 21st. On December 28th, I had 2 conversations, one with trustee Gary Morgan and one with Mayor Hawkins. I expressed my concerns that at no time anyone from the board or the mayor took the opportunity to discuss our recommendation with myself or any other board member of the commission prior to your meeting on December 27th. I also asked Mr. Morgan if he or any other board members had received evidentiary documents, facts, or findings showing evidence of the said documents that the applicant stated they had. Mr. Morgan responded back that at no time to his understanding that any board member or the mayor had been presented any such evidentiary documents showing the projections, rather it was all hearsay of potential revenues the village would receive. I ask that each and every board member takes the opportunity to learn from the PZC members why we voted on the recommendation that they did, and truly take this matter seriously under advisement rather than just voting on or waiving the first reading this evening. I support the ordinance and bringing the dispensary into the community in the proper location rather than what is the easy way out. I recommend that the PZC work with the board and the mayor to develop a plan of ideal locations in a C2 building or district for such dispensary, much like our neighboring communities have done in their local jurisdictions. Please honor your oath to the residents in our community to ensure that we are making the proper longstanding decisions for our community both on this matter and future matters that may be affected by this ordinance rather than just rushing through this process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh Peterson.
Good evening, board. As a concerned citizen of Grand Park, I was shocked to learn of the meeting on the 27th to remove the language that protected the park and the residents who live within 1,000 feet of the proposed location. I have here a petition in support of the language that the zoning board added in from the concerned citizens of Grand Park to protect the children and the residents that live within 1,000 feet of that park. There's 53 names here. Passage can hand directly to you.
Thank you.
I'll keep it brief. If this is where it goes, you can find a for sale sign in my home.
Thank you, sir.
Mike Uola.
What was the last name?
Mike Uola.
Name is Mike Uloa, lived in this town for 52 years, 8 years old. In that time, I've seen the town of Grant Park fight against every single thing that has been brought forward for improvement up till and including Hamilton Farms. We fought against Hamilton Farms like tigers because it would ruin the character of the town. Hamilton Farms obviously was built, and Grant Park is better for it. We fought against Casey. We fought against the Dollar General. Those went up. The town is still here. We're still in good shape. In fact, we're better off. We fought like tigers against Loves. Boy, we didn't want that. That was gonna bring in all kinds of trouble. Clogged traffic, terrible people, and we fought hard to stop that from happening. And it got built. None of those problems that were forecasted in the past. Traffic is fine. There's no stench. There's no terrible people wandering around every night. We're trying to base these decisions on these, the dispensary based on stereotypes of the kind of people we expect to see there. We expect to see people with their pants hanging down and their butt sticking out. We expect to see a bunch of weirdos like Cheech and Chong in their band, puffing weed and laughing. That's what we expect to see. But what we're really gonna see at that dispensary are a lot of people that look just like those in this room. Our neighbors, our friends, our grandparents, our parents, some of them relying on marijuana to ease arthritis, to ease chemo, to ease all kinds of different ailments that weed, we've discovered over the years, actually takes care of. One of the things that kind of surprised me was how many of us older folks were actually for it. I was expecting to see most of the older folks being against it, but I've seen quite a few that are for it, and I find that gratifying. We've learned something over this. To not make decisions based on what we think is gonna happen. Let's look at the real benefits, what really may happen. Now, we're worried about traffic. That used to be a bank. It used to be a busy bank, cars all over the place, drive-through. It could not have been more, or I should say, it could not have been less traffic than what we're gonna expect with the dispensary. It'll be pretty busy for probably the first 6 months, and then it'll trickle down, regular clientele. And be joined up on a lot of roads because they live in this town and who are gonna be grateful to not have to go to some sort of industrial park tucked in the back of nowhere where no one can see them, where they're uncomfortable. Right there is a beautiful building in a nice area. Yes, there's neighbors there, but what's gonna happen is what I like to call the Mrs. Kravitz effect. Everybody around is gonna be watching that place. Anything weird happens, they're gonna call the police, who are oddly enough right down the street. I don't expect any problems, any more problems from this dispensary than I expected from Love's, or the Dollar Store, or Casey's, or Hamilton Farms. I think it's time that as a town, stop fighting against anything that comes in. I don't see a whole lot of businesses beating down our door. And this might be why we're getting a reputation, well, don't want to go there. Those people don't want anything. This could be a big benefit for our town, and I will say, oddly enough, it's probably going to be the nicest dispensary in the town. And it's going to be attractive. And people are going to feel more safe there than creeping around in an industrial park. I've been to a couple of those industrial park dispensaries since this discussion started heating up a few weeks ago. And I asked them, why are you back here? Why aren't you in a better location? And the reason they're not in a better location is because they went through something just like this. Even though, as we did, we voted to allow marijuana to be sold. So did they. But nobody wanted it anywhere where it could be seen. And people, especially us older folks, aren't really fond of going places where we can't be seen because we don't know who else is there. This is out in the open. This is good. This is a good thing, potentially a good thing. And it's time to stop and break what could happen. The last thing, and this is for the board as well. Some of you I know personally, some of you I don't. I've just seen your faces. I know you, Jerry. Scott's not here. I'm not best friends with him, and that's fine. But I will not accept any suggestion that this has been done in a sneaky way, in an offhand way, and without due diligence. There's no skullduggery going on here, and any suggestion of that to me is just reprehensible. No, you're not my best friends, but I trust the board, and I trust their decision, and I fully support the dispensary. And I don't see any issues whatsoever, or I should say, I don't see any reasons for it not to be there. I hear good arguments, but no reasons. We'll be okay. We'll get through this, just like we got through Love's and everything else that we fought against. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
John Corsi.
How do you spell the last name? I'm sorry.
Courssey.
Oh, I'm sorry, John. You're right. I'm sorry.
Good evening. I'm gonna take a slightly different approach than I did at the last meeting when I spoke specifically on the absurdity of putting a weed store in my neighborhood. I paid very, very close attention to the project's attorney at the last meeting when he was talking about the boom that this is gonna be for the town of Grant Park. $10 million in sales from that dispensary, resulting in $300,000 in tax revenue for the village. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a math problem. The math doesn't work. He began his presentation saying that we'd have 160 cars a day. Later in his presentation, he amended that to 120 clients a day, and then to 120 cars a day. Let's do the math, assuming they have 120 customers that show up there every day. According to Cannabis Business Times, Flow Hub, Cannapages, and every other online resource that I could find, the average spend per client per day in a weed store, I still refuse to call it an adult use. Should we wait for the mayor to come back?
We should.
Yeah. Seems like this is important for her to hear.
Maybe she's on her monthly life.
As I said, assuming 120 clients a day come in, every online resource that I could find said that the average spend varies widely across the country in the states that have legalized, anywhere from $60 a day to the very highest being $100 a day. If we fall in the middle, which given the fact that this is brand new, we're a very small community. Yes, I know someone's going to make the argument about traffic from Indiana, but a pretty basic tenet of retail is looking at a specific geography within a certain radius. Of course, we're gonna get some folks that come from Indiana, but if we're looking at a 15 or 18 mile radius, you can pretty much eliminate the southwestern part of Kankakee County. Hell, they've already got 2 dispensaries down there. So if we're gonna rely on the folks from Indiana to cross the border, violate their state law by taking it back, and violate federal law by taking it back to their state, I think that's a mistake. But let's use that average and do some math, shall we? 120 clients a day, spending $80 a piece is $9,600 a day in revenue. Assuming that dispensary is open 360 days a year, that's $3.4 million in gross sales. A damn far cry from the $10 million that his third-party study indicated. So instead of 300,000 in tax revenue, we're down to 103,000 in tax revenue. If we're on the low end of that spectrum, an average spend of $60 a day, $7,200 a day in revenue, open 360 days a year. Well, now we're down to about 2.6 million in gross sales, $77,760 in tax revenue. Ladies and gentlemen, the math doesn't work. You have been sold a bill of goods, or you're trying to sell a bill of goods to us because the math doesn't work. That's it.
Thank you, John.
Bob, Rosario,
How do you spell the last name, Susie? I'm sorry.
Bob, could you spell your last name, please?
Roviaro.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Mayor,
Sir.
board members, thank you for allowing me to talk. I like to look at this from a couple of different directions. When we were here on, 10 days ago, there were some comments, more some, about why we shouldn't have the store over here. After going home and looking at that, I looked at some of the people that were commenting on why this store shouldn't be here. Right? When that bill was passed by the gangsters in Springfield, who was down there objecting to this bill to sell cannabis in Illinois? Who was down there objecting? Right? Doctors, churches, care centers, adult care centers. Who was missing from objecting about this bill? The biggest supporters of the gangsters in Springfield, the teachers union, the teachers administrators, school administrators, anybody to do with schools was nowhere near that place. Now they come over here and object to this store. Okay? I look around this room and I see people who support the gangsters in Springfield. They're over here objecting to this store. They didn't object to it when the store was being built, when this bill was being passed. Now they're complaining. Right? So, anybody getting up here who didn't complain about the bill being passed to begin with, Madam Mayor, tell them there's the door. What are you complaining about now? Now, let's take a look at this revenue, okay? So everybody's happy with the store, okay? The store's gonna generate $300,000 the first year. Okay? All right. The village is gonna receive that money. So to make everybody happy, let's do this. Let's give half of the 300,000 to the village and half of the 300,000 to any residential home within the village of Grand Park. All could be done within the village. We don't need the state, the county, or anybody. And to show goodwill on the people who want to put the store in here. Okay? The day they open that store, they walk up to you, Madam Mayor, and hand you a check for $300,000. On the second year, they walk up to you and say, Madam Mayor, here's a check for $300,000. Okay? So, if you voted for those gangsters in Springfield, what the hell are you complaining about now? So, everybody's happy. The store's in here, you get $150,000 a year right up front to spend streets, whatever you want to spend it on. And every residential home in the village gets a share equally divided from that $150,000. Everybody should be happy with that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Nicholas Danville.
Sandy Boy, you want me to come now, or do you want me to go up when you guys are
Do we have anyone else?
discussing the item?
Is there anyone after him, Susan?
Yes, Fred Hub, Rich Costa, and then we have Adam Mulder.
Adam?
Residential.
No, Adam.
Is he not here?
Yeah, I don't count it. Our mayor and something else.
Oh, that's all right. The meeting's for everything. It's not just the dispensary, sir. Come on up.
Okay.
You're fine. We can break it a little bit and listen to something else. No, you're fine.
My question just pertains to
I'm
our,
sorry, can you spell your last name?
MULDER,
And what was your first name?
Adam.
Adam, I apologize. Okay, go ahead, dear.
Our question pertains to the property near Solid. That was a pre-annexation agreement
Oh, so,
back in 2010. I don't know if I'm better off just speaking to the town lawyer at some point. About that.
Just to kind of update you again, Mike Sanchi, who was our lawyer, well, he still is our lawyer, he's just not here tonight, did look into that. And I think basically he felt that because we couldn't find any paperwork, it kind of disappeared from everybody's keeping, that really the village couldn't do anything for you. And pretty much, if you and the other property owner, which I think is your father, together went and you could present rezoning, or not rezoning, but reparcel, drawing the lines between the two houses. And then you could get it fixed that way. And I think what you want to do is ask him, is who was it you needed to talk to in the county?
Well, through the county, it's impossible. I've already been told that by Delbert. So he said it's really under your jurisdiction yet, because
right.
we have the pre-annexation with you guys, and that is for a 20-year period.
Adam, can you come up so I can get your phone number?
Yeah.
And then, I'll call, Mike's out of town, his name, yeah, Mike is out of town. Yeah, no, I know, I want to talk to you and then be able to get a hold of them, so.
526. 42, 54.
seeing this.
Yeah.
I'm just pinch hitting for him tonight, so I don't have much information for you, but if you reach out, I think he should be back for the end of the week.
And contacted with County, it's not like a half hour conversation, there's several people there, but he was gonna get back to us about what he's worked on.
I can follow up with him when I get back. Yeah, I'll follow up with him whenever I get back, and if you just.
When is he? He's on vacation, right?
Well, he should be back Wednesday or Thursday, 'cause he's not sick.
No, I apologize, I thought everything got taken care of, otherwise I would have been on it more, that's why I want your phone number, so I can, I'll call you. Okay. Okay. I'm a big next year too, so that's fine. Yeah, no, I'll talk to Michael when he gets back, and then I'll contact you, and we'll figure out how to get this fixed.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry to leave you hanging.
No problem.
No
Thanks.
problem. Thank you so much.
Adrian Rice.
I no comment.
No comment?
So then it would be back to Michael, Fred, and Rich would be the next three.
Which one of you guys wants to go first? All right. Alan, give me your name again, I'm sorry.
So I'm Nick Standiford. I'm at 70 West Madison, Suite 5400 in Chicago.
Thanks, sir.
I've been before the board once before, and we were with the Plan Commission. I think someone said it was 10 days ago. It feels like it was just yesterday in this room. I'm here on behalf of Cannabistro LLC. It's an Illinois limited liability company that proposes to own and operate the adult use cannabis dispensary at 101 North Hillkirk Drive here in Grant Park. Cannabistro is owned by 4 individuals. We have Fred Hub, who's right here. Fred didn't want to talk tonight, but Fred's gonna just stand up and say hello. He runs the Fred Hub Memorial Funeral Home here in town. His father started it in 1978, and he's kept it running. Fred has now, since his father passed, for 45 years, they've had it together. He also wanted me to mention that he's a veteran in the U.S. Army.
Oh, thank you for your service, Fred.
But didn't have to go to war because his brother Jim, who's also an owner in this Cannabistro, ended up going to Vietnam, and so they didn't make the younger brother go to war as well. So these are 2 veterans who are part of the Cannabistro entity. And then we have Rich Coste here. He's owned a flooring business for 38 years, so he has good management experience. He's proposing to be the liaison here in town, someone who's going to be hands-on. We also have John Stern, who's a lawyer for 35 years in development work. He's the 4th owner. At the Plan Commission meeting, we had Andy Stern here, who's a law enforcement officer, who has a law enforcement background, and I know has talked with the chief a couple times about how this would work and how this would operate. So he spoke at the Plan Commission meeting, and I was there as well. There was a question asked about what's the status, when's this going to open, if it does open, if it gets approval. They're trying to purchase this license from a third party, and the state of Illinois has to approve this transfer. The state of Illinois has to approve the prospective dispensary. But if all goes right, it could be summer or fall of 2024. So it's a painstaking process, but I try to be a hands-on attorney, and I try to make sure that things that I put my hands on turn out nicely. And so I hope to be involved in this process from now until they open their doors and cut the ribbon, if that is the case. Cannabistro wants to utilize that old abandoned bank building, not old, it seems to be in pretty good shape when I look through the windows. Don't worry, I wasn't trespassing, I have authority to do that. The renovations will be done in compliance with all applicable laws, and at the Plan Commission we talked about, the state of Illinois has very strict regulations as to cannabis dispensaries. A lot of these cannabis dispensaries are former bank buildings. I did one in Waukegan that was a First Midwest bank building. I did one in Highland Park that was a former Chase Bank building. They're great for former bank buildings for dispensaries because they have the vault in there, and the vault keeps it safe. They also have the pull unders, those drive-through windows, which you can use for extra parking for employees. We heard that parking may be a concern if there's, if it's getting a lot of reception and traffic and interest in the site, that the employees could park under that awning and save some parking spaces. I believe there's 15 spots when I counted, including one handicap accessible space. The renovations will include a waiting/vestibule room where you come in, get your ID checked, and until you prove that you're over 21 years old, you can't enter into the dispensary facility. Once you get in, there will be some little tables, and inside is not real product. It's fake. It's to educate the customer. I think they call them bud tenders, will talk to the customer about, hey, what are you looking for? What's your ailment? And they'll direct them to the product that fits their needs at that moment. What happens then is they go to the counter and they from the back will come the product. And so once you pay for the product, you get it in a sealed bag that you can take with you out of the dispensary. And then you go into your car, there's gonna be, and drive away. There's no on-site consumption allowed. There's gonna be security at the site. There's gonna be cameras like a casino, making sure that no one is violating the rules and regulations of the dispensary. This dispensary has unique characteristics at this proposed location. It has mature, dense landscaping all around the property. If you go there, the screen is taller than me. And it butts up to the residential subdivision we talked up to the north, and then also to the Dollar General, which I think is to the west. And there's dense landscape screening in there, which provides almost like a fence. But as I said, there's going to be cameras all over the place to make sure that no one's loitering on the property. The site also has great ingress and egress. It's already got a drive, an access drive that works well. It's conveniently located across from the Casey's. It's well lit. And importantly, I heard there was a comment a few minutes ago that it's not near, that you don't want to be near a school. Unfortunately, this is on a part of town that's not near the school. I understand the school is it this way or this way, right there? So I did a little drive and I got to figure out that the school is kind of on the end of town and this is on the other end of town. So that situates nicely. It's a commercially zoned property. We don't need to rezone it. All we are asking for is an ordinance to be passed that allows adult use cannabis and a special use permit to operate this specific dispensary at this specific location. Yes, there is a park within 500 feet, but there's already a Casey's across the street that sells alcohol. And I'm sure had a lot of vocal opponents when that was first put in. But I'm not aware of any incidents with people bringing their packaged Casey's items over to the park. I will say that with the influx of revenue that the village will seek, tax revenue, it's 3% just to the village. And then there's another 1% basically that the village can take from these, the sales of this cannabis. So with that money, I don't know if the park is a part of a park district here or if it's part of the whole village operating budget, but things like the park, things like the roads, things like the lights, things like the nice bike path that was just put in right there in front of the proposed dispensary. Those are the types of projects the village can start to reinvest in with this influx of capital that would seemingly come out of nowhere. And there was a comment made about, oh, well, this is a bad perception to have a dispensary here in Grant Park, but I think it's the opposite. I think it shows that Grant Park is open for business, that it's a thriving community, that I think the gentleman put it well. It serves the people in the community who have ailments, who want to come and get cannabis. And it's going to hopefully with that tax revenue make a lot of things better. And so maybe the streets are nicer. Maybe when you come into Grant Park, everything looks a little nicer. You might not know how, but that I think everyone on the board here can tell you that every little bit of extra tax revenue matters. And communities all across the state all want dispensaries. And that's the reason. It's because they have retail sales tax that comes out of nowhere in a time when a lot of municipalities desperately need it. So Highland Park, when I was there, they had a red flag law that said, we don't want a dispensary. We want to wait and see if the other towns think that this is going to be a bad idea. There's going to be extra crime, extra traffic. We're going to put a hold on it for a year. And I said, that's a bad idea because you're going to miss out on all this revenue and you're going to be in the same place in a year and you're not going to have a dispensary. And that's exactly what happened. Luckily, we finally convinced them, okay, you need to do this now. And they agreed. And there's been no issues. I drive by it every day on the way home. It looks nice. It's well kept. There's frosting in the windows. You're not allowed to see in. So it looks good. It's not going to be an eyesore. If anything, this whole vacant property is going to be vastly improved. As you know, this has been an abandoned bank building for several years. I think I said it was 6 years. I can't remember for sure how many years. Is that right? So this is gonna be a building that can be rehabilitated into something that's gonna be a productive use. I think that's a really important thing. Jobs, this is gonna produce jobs. I know Rich has made it a priority to want to hire locally. And he anticipates 10 full-time employees, 4 part-time, 2 security guards. These are all people who can have jobs in the village, can go out to eat lunch at tracks and bring in some extra money for business owners. I haven't been to Flanagan's yet. I heard that's good too. The real estate tax base will increase.
Excuse me.
The local synergies for other Grand Park businesses, which I just mentioned, the community engagement through donations. So I think that there's been an expression that this is a dispensary. This is not a big town. And this dispensary wants to partner with different community organizations here in town. And if you know of any and want to come to us and talk to us about ones that would be good, whether it be for job fairs or donations or toy drives or anything like that, I think you'd find a willing partner in Cannabistro. So there was a comment made about a petition with 53 objectors. But what's not on that petition is the thousands in this town who are going to benefit from more money flowing to Grant Park.
Hundreds, I'd probably say hundreds. We only have.
Okay, all right, is that right?
We only have 1,300 people.
All right, there you go.
Sorry.
No, that's all right, it's good to know. So I think that, is it Mr. Peterson? Is that who
He
spoke?
was here he was at the last
And
meeting.
who's the gentleman in the hat? What's his name again?
That's Mike Uola.
Uola?
Uola.
Mr. Like Mr. Uola put it, I mean, this town is still in good shape after all of the boogeymen that have come by and come through this, where I'm standing right now. And it's gonna be even better shape if Cannabistro gets recommended for approval. So we ask for your vote, to approve the project.
You should be on your phone, I'm sorry, you should be speaking.
I'm doing the timer,
Okay,
if you'd like to know.
No, you're off the text.
thank you. You're gonna call me, I'm gonna call you out, sorry.
Also interrupted, of course, about you.
Okay, that's enough. Is there anyone that has any questions for Nick directly in the audience?
Where's the 10 million bucks coming from?
It's coming from the retail sales in the first year. And then in the 5th year, it's gonna increase to 17 million based on their projections. That would be,
Anticipate being 2.5 to 3 times better than the national average.
I'm not sure what it was. They had a third party perform the study and that's what they found. But no matter what,
Who commissioned?
no matter what,
Who commissioned?
I'm not sure who commissioned it. No matter what, no matter what, the amount of tax revenue that's gonna be coming to the village be greater than it is now by a long shot.
Yes, but we're talking about the difference between 300,000 and 70,000.
It's gonna be more than 50,000, but it's more than 60,000, probably gonna be more than 70,000. And if things gonna happen, if this becomes the thing that people go to in life, who knows where it could go?
So
But it's gonna be better than nothing.
So are you agreeing that the 300,000 is a bit of pipe dream?
I don't know what it is. I didn't do the study, but I can say this. That's what was given to me by the client who said that they commissioned the study. That's the figure that was represented to them by a third party who was an expert.
Has anyone on the board actually done the math, the research?
Have you seen the study? Do you have a copy of this? Did you provide the board with a copy?
No, it was asked to me at the last meeting what they thought the projections would be, and I told them that.
Oh, okay.
The third party, by the way, was out of a company out of Arizona.
Icon?
No, the Cannabis Advisors.
So
So
they
the company that we first started with that brings cannabis dispensary companies to fruition.
Okay.
And they did a lot of background research that they presented to us. When we first got into the project, the state of Illinois wanted to have so much criteria, and it was such a complex process that we had to invest in a third party to get us through that process.
But you invested with a third party whose agenda is to build cannabis dispensaries.
Correct, and to advise.
Also, go back and say correct again, for everybody hears that.
That's our. point.
Okay. Any other questions for Nick?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that situation could be remedied real fast. Have your people hand the mayor, on the day you cut the ribbon, a check for $300,000. That's solid. You don't have to play how many cars are coming in, how many people spend. Hand that mayor a $300,000 check. Half goes to the mayor, to the village, half goes to residents that own homes in this community. That's solid. You don't have to fight back and forth about that.
Yeah, so the amount of money that's gonna go into buying the license here, these are really sought after licenses. I don't even know how many there are in Kankakee County. I mean, are there, how many? Two? I mean, these are very sought after things, and the amount of money that they're gonna put into the building, to the license, to everything, there's a lot of cost, and they think it's gonna work, even despite all that. Okay, so these owners have put all their chips in here to Grant Park. And if everyone in this room comes to the dispensary, that means that's money that's gonna flow back to the village in the form of taxes.
That's great.
So if everyone contributes, it could be more than 300,000 that comes to the village every year.
That's good. Okay, Mayor, you're getting the $300,000.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
I have a question. Are you gonna be spending?
I'm sorry, ma'am, what was your name?
Kim Scanlon.
Oh, Kim.
Are they gonna be spending their own money on retrofitting this building, or where is the money coming from? Is it coming from the gas dollars?
So we have not asked for any TIF money at this time. We're still looking at how much it's gonna cost to build all this and do, but if we do, we'll come back before this board. There'll be a notice meeting, and we'll have an opportunity to make our case that we need TIF assistance. And what TIF does is it merely caps the property taxes for the owner for a period of, I think, 21 years. Okay? And the property owner still pays their taxes. And the increase actually gets held in a separate account. And that money goes back in to pay for improvements. Get back in, if you want to put new lights in, you want to put a new sign in, you want to beautify the property. All that money doesn't come from anywhere else. It comes from a fund, from the taxes that this generates, because it's a more valuable property. So we'll make that request. We haven't requested it yet, but it's expensive to build these. And basically the whole town of Grant Park is in a TIF district. So what we do is we'd ask the village if they wanted to enter into a redevelopment agreement where we would agree on the terms, and this would all be public business. And the village would determine whether they wanted to do a TIF agreement, a redevelopment agreement or not. But this whole town has already been determined to be blighted under the TIF standards. So there's not a whole lot left to do if they wanted to ask for TIF assistance.
But if they're expecting to make tens of millions of dollars, could they not pay for the improvement?
That will be for the board to decide. And that's where the applicant will have to make its case.
Are they gonna cap my taxes too?
I don't know, if you have a redevelopment agreement with the village, you could.
I own a home here. What's that gonna do to the value of my home?
Well, I don't think your home is gonna go up in value as much as the dispensary will.
I wanna know if my taxes are gonna be capped, because they go up every year.
Well, our taxes are gonna go up as every year.
No.
It's the increment.
I don't
that
believe
gets
that.
captured.
You said that you're already gonna,
The rate.
you're gonna cap it for 21 years.
The rate.
Well, cap the rate on my house for 21 years.
The EAV, the tax, the owner's gonna pay more and more and more. What I'm saying is the rate, like the EAV, between the difference in the EAV and the amount they're gonna pay and the increase in taxes goes into a separate fund.
I'm just asking you, are you gonna cap the rate on my taxes at the same time you do his?
If you ask for it, you can ask for the.
Yeah,
He doesn't get
Right.
control over
It goes
capping
up every
people.
year.
Excuse me. This is a meeting of order. We're not gonna yell. He doesn't have control over capping other people's taxes. Yes, ma'am.
What is the age that's going to be using this dispensary?
Anywhere between 21 and 101.
I mean, the majority. Do you think it will be the older group or will it be the younger group?
I'm not sure. I'm
I
not
can,
sure.
I can answer that question.
I can say this.
You can
I woke
speculate.
up with a horrible hangover
Sorry?
on Christmas Day, after drinking too much on Christmas Eve. And I took an edible the next day because I needed to get my stomach settled and feel better and get my appetite back. And that worked great. So you wouldn't think I'm the kind of guy who's over there doing edibles and stuff. See, like Mr. Viola said.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah, I gotta get it right, I'm the first name. But you know, there's a lot of people come in different shapes and sizes who want this stuff, and now that it's legal in Illinois, you know, that
But they have to have a medical.
you don't need a medical card.
This is not medical,
This is-
recreational.
So you don't need a medical card, you can go in there.
No.
Yeah, you
Well,
can.
You just walk in there and come to another one.
You don't need the hassle to get medical card.
I
You
just
can go
don't
in
remember
there.
me, but.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, Miss,
Christine
Chrissy,
again? Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so I know, I believe that Cannabistro was a part of a group that filed a lawsuit against the state of Illinois. Because they weren't chosen in the lottery.
I'm not aware of that, I think there's some, that she could probably talk to.
Okay.
No, we didn't.
So Cannabistro wasn't part of a lawsuit against the state of Illinois for not being chosen in the lottery.
No.
I do know that their lawyers who are handling the state license have litigated against the state board. I don't know, the state of Illinois has done a horrible job rolling out these licenses.
I was just wondering if that was.
Horrible job. And so a lot of people have had to sue the state to say, we have these people who won these licenses, put all this money in, and then they can't open their dispensaries or whatever, so they have to get, you know, the state has to get sued, the judge will hopefully make a decision, but I'm not aware of Cannabistro suing anybody.
Don't even mind.
Okay. Anything else, Nick?
No, unless there's questions from the board.
Any questions from the board?
I have no questions.
Okay. Did anyone else from you guys want to stand up and speak? Oh, I'm sorry, Matt.
I said one question.
Hold on one second. Stand up, please, sorry.
So you talk about the report, and in my statement to the board, I referenced that. Are you or Cannabistro willing to share that so the board can have an informed evidentiary decision based on those documents rather than hearsay? Because everything so far presented to the zoning board and to the village board has been hearsay rather than evidence provided on a said report that's not being presented.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a court of law,
I
so,
understand that, but
the rules of
that's
evidence
fair.
are relaxed, and all I know is what I saw in the report, which said that it's gonna be 10 million in the first year, 17 million in the fifth year. The revenue that goes to the village is 300,000 in the first year, 510,000 in the fifth year.
So you're not willing to share the report?
So I'd have to ask the client, and I have to see whether there's a confidentiality provision, but I'm happy to, you know, if you'd like me to send it to you, I'm happy to do that.
I'm more concerned for the board so they have an informed decision when they vote on the said items that are presented for both the special use and the zoning ordinance. This isn't just for Cannabistro. Their decisions that they're faced with in front of them reflect the entire zoning ordinance, number one, first and foremost, well beyond Cannabistro. And so I think it's only fair to the village board that if we're referencing hearsay of a report, that you provide them that said report so they have evidence in front of them to correlate what you're telling them to a said report that is not been shown.
Yeah, all I can say to that is that if these dispensaries didn't make all this money, would they be popping up in every community that wants them? So if it's 50,000 a year, or if it's 300,000 a year, I think the applicants made that their case that this will do much greater good than harm.
That's not the answer. I'm
That's
just
not-
asking if you will present the board the report so that they can make an informed decision rather than
And I
hearsay
answered
from a
you.
lawyer in Chicago and from a wealthy business owner in Hawaii. That's what I'm asking.
I don't know if I'm allowed to share it at this point. If I am, I'd have to.
Perfect, thank you.
Anyone else from you want to, I think Mr.
To make a point of the physical facility, that bank that's been sitting there for how many years vacant, and how manicured it's been kept. It's been kept meticulous. And that's the way the building's gonna stay. It's not gonna be a sore in anybody's bone or anybody's hip pocket or anything like that. We plan on taking care of it. Like it's been taken care of being vacant. And it's not, and they're bringing on people from the community to work, and we wanna have everybody from that's local. That's my game plan, to make sure we can hire people that are local. They don't have far to travel, we can give people a little more some work. Yeah, it's not a lot of people, maybe 15 people, but it's better than none. So I just wanted to bring that up, that as far as the cosmetics are concerned and so forth and so on. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be something that's gonna be a sore to the community.
So you don't have to write it down.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else that would like to have one last comment before we
Yeah,
move on?
I would,
Yes, ma'am.
my backyard faces into,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Adrian
but
Rice,
What was the name?
Adrian Rice. My backyard faces into the Dollar General. What's that gonna do if I decide to sell my house? Is that going to cost me? People don't wanna live next to a dispensary. It's literally past my
Our
backyard.
response to that would be, you might be surprised who would want to live next to a dispensary. You might get more than you asked for.
Right.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, well, I moved here from a small town and I have children and there's 1,300 people in this town. There's not thousands. Okay, so I don't see a big rush of people moving to Grant Park unless they want to have, children go in a small town, small community, or older people who want to retire. I don't see that adding to the value of my house, and I've lived there 3 years. That's gonna be traffic that I get to be Mrs. Kravitz and watch to see if my kids are okay outside, because all this traffic is coming in from Indiana or wherever. I'm so upset right now because I had no idea this was happening. And I'm facing it.
Did you get a notice,
No,
a written notice?
no,
You live next door?
my backyard faces to the Dollar General.
Okay.
Huh?
And so all I can tell you is that you may have a buyer for your property, number one. And my whole argument here is that the town may be nicer if you add money into its coffers. And it would attract more people to come here and take advantage of the great schools I hear they have.
Right, but who wants to live right by a dispensary? I like the fact that there's a big open field back there and that's what my kids can look at and that's where they.
And the property is zoned commercial, and you bought next to 2 commercial properties, so.
Right, but
there has
not
to be
a
an
pot dispensary.
Well, it's not too far from Casey's, which sells liquor.
Right, but you can buy liquor in Indiana and everywhere else. You don't have to drive to Grant Park to get alcohol, right?
Are you saying pot and liquor are the same?
Because it's not.
I'm saying that if you're gonna have an issue with pot, you probably should have an issue with liquor too.
I do.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Is there a motion to approve bills and payroll for payment?
Yes, I move to approve bills for payment dated December 29th, 2023 from the corporate general fund. The amount of $41,189.44. I also move to approve payroll ending December 23rd, 2023, in the amount of $17,941.97. Also ending December 26th, 2023, in the amount of $9,862.52.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor for all the numbers he just read. Robin seconded it. Susie,
Yes.
your vote?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Gary.
Yes.
Okay, Susie, Frank?
Yes.
Yes. Morgan?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Thank you. Department reports, Clerk Scott Dillman is absent. For the attorneys, we have Miss Allie Harms here.
No.
Oh, thank you. Engineer report, I have nothing for this meeting. And then, here we go. Susie, Weedle, insurance and ordinances, ma'am.
Yes.
If you need help, let me know.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve to waive the first reading of ordinance number O-1-24-1. An ordinance amending Title IX zoning of the Grant Park Village Code to permit and regulate adult use cannabis business establishments.
Thank you. Hold on.
So,
Oh, we don't, I'm putting the thing in, yeah, so that,
I would just say,
which one is that?
so the one. with- One.
The first one that I'm doing right now?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe.
So,
I don't know why he didn't label them differently.
so do
But
we have to
sort of,
state that this is what this is?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
in plain language? Okay, all right, just making sure. All right, I'm sorry,
Morgan, second.
I heard yes. Morgan. Susie waiving the first reading, Morgan seconded, Susie, yes?
Yes.
Morgan? Yes. Robin?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Thank you.
You missed one.
I missed one? Oh, here.
Yes.
You just, okay, so, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This ordinance that we are waiving the first reading on in simple language is an ordinance, denying, right, denying, yeah. Denying the recommendation from the CZZ, from the code board, with their recommendations. So just so everyone is aware, that's what this first ordinance is that we are reading right now. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. So ordinance O-1-24-1.
Yes, ma'am.
An ordinance amending Title IX zoning of the Grant Park Village Code to permit and regulate adult use cannabis business establishments.
Is there a second? Second. So we have an ordinance amending Title IX in plain language, denying the, or recommendation by the zoning board. Susie, yeah, motion made by Susie, seconded by Morgan, Robin,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
Did I say Morgan already? Okay. Did I miss anyone? Okay, sorry. Right, on to the next.
I'd like a motion to waive the first reading on ordinance number O-1-24-2. An ordinance amending Title IX zoning of the Grant Park Village Code to permit and regulate adult use cannabis business establishments.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion made by Susie, seconded by Robin. Ben,
Yes.
William,
Which one?
I'm sorry, Gary. This one is,
This is the one with the PCC changes.
this is one with the PCC changes?
Yes.
So it's exactly like the other.
It's exactly like the other, it just has their changes incorporated or their suggestions.
So we should maybe revisit how many votes. Because you don't, that's the other one, this is same.
This is saying the opposite of the other one. Correct. Right, okay. So you're gonna move it.
He may not want to vote yes, but.
I just got mine with what I have.
Yeah, so it should be here. I'll give you mine. So that's the first one. This is the one with their changes incorporated.
Okay.
And then,
So there's some changes in that, and I'd like to see.
Right,
and what
okay.
we do.
Hold on, I'm gonna read it. Hold on. So this is the one that,
has their changes incorporated or their suggestions.
right, the book where this is the one that we're gonna.
Correct.
Along with the first one.
Well, we're,
How can you say you're denying it if you haven't voted yet?
I know. We're trying to get it straightened out. We have a couple different ordinances.
so this. And then this one.
This is the one.
Yeah, so you're approving this one if that's what you choose to do, so.
The one that we've already had. Well, it's not very good in the case. If you
This
approve
one.
This one. It says 1,000 feet in residence.
Right.
You wanna go with that one?
Right, yes.
Yeah. Unless people want
Yes.
to deny.
Right, okay. Okay.
No,
this isn't being helpful. Well, I mean, they all say the same thing and there's only different changes, so.
If you had a motion, you seconded it? And they may want to say no. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
To approve.
My understanding is that this one hasn't been tested.
Right.
My understanding.
It's not.
Correct, so these are proposals.
Yeah.
So
Which proposal is it?
this is a proposal without their recommended use of the house.
And that is that
Correct.
approved.
Okay.
And this is just an additional proposal, for the board to consider the planning and zoning.
Oh,
1,000.
gotcha. So
So
this,
you have to vote on both of them, yes or no.
right, okay, so this, I misspoke. This is not denying it.
Correct.
This is denying it.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So for ordinance 01.
Because it's,
This is the first one. Yeah, that's the one we just did. So this is,
it's amendment. And this one would be approving because it has their recommended changes in.
okay. So this one was denying, this, the first ordinance 01-2401.
Could you speak up again, please?
The first ordinance date of 01-2401 was presented to the board with the recommendations from the zoning board. Right?
No.
No.
Without, correct. This is without the zoning.
Yes.
So which one is this one?
This is the one with the zoning board.
So that's what I just asked you. And you just said this. So
No,
this
I
is,
said, this is the one that's gonna be denied because it does not have their changes.
No, why? This one says the dispensary has to be 1,000 feet. That one says 1,000 feet from a residence. So if we pass that one, there's no dispensary.
Residential purposes, property by property. 1,000 feet of property line, private property, and it doesn't have the park or playground or any property use.
She don't know what that.
okay, I'm still not doing what you're saying. Which one is the one that you want to approve?
The first one.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the
Yes.
plan. So this one is not with the recommendation.
Correct.
Yeah, it's approved, we just passed it.
Okay.
So.
All right. No, I'm working on it. I have 100 pages of paper in front of me. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the correct ones because the attorneys made certain corrections. So ordinance 01-2401 is with the changes from the board, from the zoning board. This is
01 is just like it was originally, none of it changed.
right. This is their changes. The first ordinance that we just passed is the ordinance that the board approved after consideration from the zoning board. The following changes were made by the board for the ordinance for the dispensary. So I will read out what the changes we made to the recommendation. Okay, geez. Whereas the Plan Commission held a public hearing to consider the proposed amendments.
This is not the ordinance. This is the actual use. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. You're fine, I'm sorry.
To consider the proposed amendments on December 21st, 2023, with notice having been properly given for the same, and at that time made all findings of fact required by and pursuant to the village code. The Plan Commission's findings of fact and recommendation of approval is attached hereto as Exhibit A. The fully incorporated herein, and whereas the Plan Commission recommended that the corporate authorities amend the Grant Park zoning ordinance subject to certain changes, and whereas the corporate authorization of the village hereby approve and adopt the Plan Commission's findings of fact. However, the corporate authorities decline to follow the Plan Commission's recommended changes to the Grant Park zoning ordinance. And whereas the corporate authorities of the village hereby find that it is in the best interest of the citizens of the village to amend the Grant Park zoning ordinance as set forth in this ordinance. Are there any other changes? That was it, yes. So this is our suggestion for the ordinance for the dispensary. I can read in some of the details if anyone would like to know what they are. Where are they? You know what I'm talking about.
I'd like to know the details.
Standards.
Exactly what are the details?
I'm looking through it. I don't know if you can see up here.
I just assumed all of you on the board would have been a little bit more prepared for tonight. I've never seen a more embarrassing group of people in my life.
Would you want to leave?
Yes, I'm going to show myself out,
Excuse me.
but I'm telling you right
Okay.
now, what you guys are
We
doing, you're
just
selling
got
the soul
We
of this
just
village.
got,
No,
Carl,
make some money. Yeah, I'll
you're
walk
done,
out, don't worry
you're
about it.
done. Stop talking. Stop
Former zoning
talking.
board member, yes,
Stop
you didn't
talking.
take our.
Stop talking.
No, I'm not
And
gonna stop
please
talking.
leave. Stop talking and please leave. You will not get a word in edgewise because I'm not gonna stop talking.
Well,
until you
congratulations
leave.
for selling the soul of the town.
Okay,
Good luck.
leave. Thank you. You are excused.
Be more prepared next time. You're an embarrassment. Total embarrassment.
Keep leaving.
Total embarrassment.
Carl, can you do something, please?
I'm walking out, don't worry about it.
Okay, then keep your mouth shut and keep walking. Ally, can you explain why the board is unprepared right now as the attorney?
Yeah.
When did we get these packets?
Today.
Today, at 4 o'clock. Thank you very much. You all got these packets at 4 o'clock today.
should have reviewed it prior to the meeting. Okay, so if you got it at 4 o'clock, that, that's not enough time, I get it. Then you can't vote on it. If you got
Okay,
just.
anyway, moving on, I will read the changes to the ordinance. Where are the limits that we need? That's what I'm asking. Okay, well then why are you?
Changes are unquote too.
Right.
The 1,000 feet from the residence.
Okay, then why aren't they in the one we just approved?
They are, well, no, because we don't. limit it.
We just approved this one.
Without the 1,000 feet.
Without 1,000 feet.
Okay, and that's what I'm trying to, right, and that's what I'm trying to read, so everyone understands what we are recommending. For this.
This one. says-
Talking is very, okay, stop talking English about it, please. The board has decided to for the dispensary, and these are the rules. In those zoning districts in which an adult use cannabis craft grower may be located, the proposed facility must comply with the following. The facility may not be located within 1,000 feet of the property line of any existing public or private nursery school, preschool, primary or secondary school, daycare center, daycare home, or residential care home. Vocational or trade school learning centers shall not be considered or deemed to be public or private schools for purpose of this section. No facility may be located on any property used or zoned for residential purposes. The facility may not conduct any sales or distribution of cannabis other than as authorized by the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. The adult use cannabis craft grower shall be the sole use of any tenant space in which it is located, except to the extent that it may be co-located with other adult use cannabis business enterprises. On-site consumption of cannabis is always prohibited. Petitioner shall file an affidavit with the village affirming compliance with all requirements of the Title and Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act, including all regulations. Promulgated thereunder. As far as the dispensing organization says the same. The facility may not be located within 1,000 feet of any schools, primary schools, daycare home, residential care home. No facility may be located on any property zoned for residential. The facility may not conduct any sales or distribution of cannabis other than as authorized by the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. The adult use cannabis dispensing organization shall be the sole use of any tenant space in which it is located, except to the extent that it may be co-located with other adult use cannabis business enterprises as provided in section 9-21-11 of this chapter. On-site consumption of cannabis is always prohibited. So it is going to be 1,000 feet from any school, nursery, anything like that. We took out residential and parks. The next ordinance is going to be 01242. Which is the ordinance that is going to be, this is the ordinance that is going to be denying the request of the zoning board. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, so I made a motion to waive the first reading.
And I seconded.
Motion made by Susie, seconded by Robin. Frank?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Morgan? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number O-1-24-2, an ordinance amending Title IX zoning of the Grant Park Village Code to permit and regulate adult use cannabis business establishments.
Second. Thank you, Morgan. Motion.
We're putting in 1,000 feet.
Right,
But I was like, yes, no, no.
right. So this one, do you want to table this one? They want to vote no if they are saying they don't want this, right?
Right.
Anyone understand that?
Yeah, because the second ordinance has the recommendation including
From the
the
zoning
parks.
board, right. So this is the recommendation by the zoning board. So if you want it to pass, you vote yes. If you are denying this, you would vote no.
Well, we're denying it.
Right, so I'm just clarifying so that we know what is going on. So Susie motioned, Morgan second, Robin,
No.
Right. Frank?
No.
Ben?
No.
Morgan? No. Thank you.
Susie, no.
Oh, sorry, Susie, no. Yes. Sorry, Karen, yes. All right, next one.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the first reading on ordinance number O-1-24-3. An ordinance granting a special use permit for certain property within the village of Grant Park, Kankakee County, Illinois.
So we don't have a second, then it just. Yes.
Yes, I did.
Right. We only have a second on the floor? All right, this one is done.
Well, I thought it was in there.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's the one that said yes to the special use
It
permit.
says denying special use.
That's four. This we're working on three.
Yeah, I got it, go to four. This is granted. You wrote three on this one.
Because I thought that's what she said.
No, she said denying.
Okay.
You just read denying, right?
No.
Which one did you read? Granting or
Just
denying?
now?
Yes.
O-1-24-3, that's the special use permit.
Is it granting or denying?
Denying or granting? It's the first sentence of the resolution. Sorry, on the front page. On the very first page.
I just have 101 North Hobart Drive on mine.
It should say right here.
Denying, and then it says ordinance granting.
I do not have that ordinance. That's the resolution. The resolution denying a special use permit. We are on the first reading
The ordinance grant.
or the granting the special use permit.
That's what the problem is, the resolution, and that's the ordinance.
What are we on?
That's fine.
I think this should really be.
Right here.
This one?
It's not an ordinance.
So he's saying this one should be a resolution? Granting?
First reading of the ordinance granting the special
Okay,
use
so that's
permit.
fine, that's what it's gonna be.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so 01-24-3 is an ordinance granting a special use permit for certain properties within the village of Grant Park County, or Grant Park, Kankakee County, permitting a special use permit for this location to sell marijuana.
Yeah. So
Motion made by Susie.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion.
Hold on, I can think about it.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Anxious.
No, me too. Motion made by Susie for the ordinance granting the special use permit, seconded by, Morgan. Frank?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Morgan, are you, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
You're sick.
You there. Nice. Let me just read it for you. I'll just do it. Resolution number,
No, we didn't pass the ordinance O-1-24-3.
this is what she wants to do next, the resolution. That's what you just handed me.
Yes.
This is what we're doing.
So we're not voting yet on O-1-24-3.
First reading.
I just made a motion to pass the first
Yeah.
reading.
So now we vote for.
Oh, okay,
So now we
my
should vote
apologies.
on
I
that.
just handed me that. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to pass ordinance number O-1-24-3. An ordinance granting a special use permit for certain property within the village of Grant Park, Kankakee County, Illinois, 101 North Hobart Drive.
Like to second that?
Can you stand up when you're taking that vote so we can?
No, we're not gonna stand up. We speak just fine. Thank you. Motion made by Susie for the special permit, seconded by Morgan. Ben,
Yes.
Robin, Frank,
Yes.
Gary.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to waive the first reading on resolution number R-1-24-1, a resolution denying a special use permit for certain property within the village of Grant Park, Kankakee County, Illinois, 101 North Hilbert Drive.
Yeah. Or just no second, it's fine. Right.
Right.
Yeah. All right, there's no second on that one. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to pass resolution R-1-24-1, a resolution denying a special use permit for certain property within the village of Grant Park, Kankakee County, Illinois, 101 North Hilbert Court.
Next one. That's all. All right. So the board denied the recommendations by the zoning board and approved the ordinance to permit the cannabis dispensary to go into the bank and for their special use permit. Next item on the agenda. Streets and Alley Committee, Mr. Frank Cassini.
Just a couple of things. You know, a couple of streetlights out in town, it's gonna be fixed.
Okay.
2 days. Also, they're looking at planning on taking out decorations like January.
8, okay.
And, they've had a couple complaints about the streets and the alleys on the potholes, but, they need time.
Yeah. Okay,
That's about it.
thank you.
I would like to ask, I had people at, over on Hilbert Court, Nancy.
Yeah.
Kim, what is your address over there on Hilbert Court?
Mine is 10.
10, they're looking for a sign to be put up that just does not allow any through traffic. I talked to Chief about it. He thought that probably would not be a problem.
Oh,
getting
in
one.
the,
Well, so they don't go
Right.
under.
go ahead, go
Like
turn
they
around,
did
take it out. Okay, yeah, we can do that.
So maybe Frank can
That's good.
work on that.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
perfect.
see
Thanks, Frank.
if he can, yeah,
Thanks.
no through traffic. We should have some from the alleys.
Hilbert Court.
Yeah. I live in number.
Yes.
We do have a sign that says no through.
Yeah, at Hilbert,
No outlet,
okay,
but something more definitive that that's a dead end.
okay,
And I looked it up at the court, it can be a dead end,
okay,
just try to detour traffic more.
okay. So you have, I'm sorry, you have a sign that says no outlet.
It already says no outlet,
Right.
but something more definitive, like dead end,
Okay,
where there's.
yeah, we can
Like,
look into
where
the,
point even without anything.
right, yeah, we can look into the different signs and find something more suitable to deter people from going in there.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay,
No turn.
was there something else, Mike, or that was it? I'm sorry. Thank you, sir.
No, you don't want them out there.
Finance Committee, Mr. Gary Morgan.
Have a finance committee meeting at 5:30 before the next meeting, I think it was the 18th. So 5:30 here, we'll have a finance committee meeting to consider the revenue budget,
The 6th.
That was the 18th,
whatever the Tuesday is before the next
16th.
meeting.
16th.
16th, yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. Other than that, I have nothing.
That's here.
And here, yeah, because we'll have the revenue budget review with finance committee And all board members and the public's welcome to come to that.
Oh, there is
And then
one
we'll go
down
right
there.
into the regular meeting.
Thanks.
Oh.
Okay, community outreach, Mr. Ben Detloff.
I have several things. We had their Christmas Day dinner here. We had 44 people in attendance. I want to thank Mr. Bob Sherman, the chairman, and Mr. Scott Dillman, the co-chairman, for help put this thing together. Pastor Amy Smith led a prayer before the meeting. And another thank you to Santa and Mrs. Claus for greeting our guests at the door, and they were taking pictures and mingling with the folks and sitting with the folks and making them feel welcome. So I want to thank everybody and the volunteers and make that day special.
Thank you.
In this coming week, we're going to be promoting cabin fever, and this is one of the flyers here that Carol made up. They're going to be in local businesses and also a flyer about the quilt and information on how you can get tickets. And we're going to be highlighting the sponsors that have already donated to us and encourage others that would like to maybe sponsor to come help us. We're also looking for volunteers, so you can contact any of the board members or myself, and we'll have a job for you. And later this month, at the end of the month, we'll have a festival meeting, just kind of wrapping up some loose ends and getting ready for cabin fever. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Buildings and Grounds Committee Chairman, Ms. Robin Bruni. I have nothing for this evening. Thank you, ma'am. Law Enforcement Committee Chairman, Ms. Morgan Worrell. I have nothing, and that's perfect. Village President. It was brought to my attention by one of the trustees, about maybe reconsidering wages for our 3 employees that did not receive the wages this year. I don't know how the other trustees feel about it, if this is something that they would like to discuss further. The 3 employees, I think we all are aware of who they are.
Steve, JD, and Carrie.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, what was the question? Or what are?
it was just brought to my attention by a trustee to reconsider the raises that they did not get in the spring that the other employees of the village did receive. It was suggested for a 5%, which I believe is what the other people received. Were for each employee. And then the same benefit of the 5,000 increase that they got. So we will be speaking on that at the next meeting. The raises for 5% for the employees would be putting Carrie at $24.27 an hour. Steve, 25 an hour. And JD, 20.32 an hour for 5% for the rest of the year. This is just on a piece of paper like this, but I can get copies to all the trustees if they would like. This is just what Gary put together for me last minute after having to put all these ordinances together.
When was their last raise?
Last year,
Like last January last year?
I believe.
You know, I think we voted not to give them one this past, if I'm
This
speaking
past year,
correctly, this
yeah.
past year. So.
So
it'd be-
2022 was last time they got raises. I'm sorry, I was speaking as if we're still in 2023. I forgot it's 2024. 2023, we gave the police officers all the raises and we denied JD, Steve and Carrie. So this is those raises that were brought to my attention after having another look at the budget. So we can discuss that at the next meeting.
Want to add that to the agenda? And the finance
Yeah.
committee too?
Yeah, that's fine.
And we'll have more detail.
Yeah, so if, I can get you guys copies of this and then Gary can get you a projected budget for the rest of the year, right?
Yes.
With these raises,
Yes.
so that you are aware before we vote and do anything on where that would leave us with the budget, if that is okay. Does that make sense or not?
We can explore it in detail for committee meeting.
At the
and then
finance
actually
committee.
have it in the agenda for the real meeting.
Okay. Any questions about that from the trustees? What's wrong? Like, you have a question, okay. I have no other old business. I don't know if anyone in the audience has any closing statements they would like to make. Yes, sir.
Just one suggestion, that might help, people not think that things are going on, come closer.
Okay.
Getting by.
You're fine.
The Village of Grant Park webpage has a calendar on it.
Yes, sir.
I've noticed that the dates and times of these meetings don't generally appear on the calendar until after the meeting has taken place. Yeah, I checked to see that this meeting was on the calendar and it wasn't. So I don't know who is managing the calendar on the webpage, but they
Yeah,
should make an effort to ensure that these meetings are on the calendar before they occur.
Mhm.
And in that way, people can't say you're trying to hide this or you're trying to sneak this under the radar. Just a little bit more diligence with the village calendar would do a whole lot.
Thank
to
you, I
save that.
agree with you 100%. Thank you. Mike.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that.
thank you, sir. This, okay. I do have the dates that I will read off for 2024. They were read at the last meeting, but I'll read them again just for public record, and they will be updated on the website, so that it doesn't show up the day of the meeting. So this, obviously, a meeting today. Our next meeting will be January 16th in observance of Martin Luther King Day. February 5th, February 20th, which is a Tuesday for President's Day. March 4th. March 18th, which will be at the Village Hall due to the election the next day, or that day. April 1st, April 15th, May 6th, May 20th, June 3rd, June 17th, June 1st, June 15th, August 5th, August 19th, September 3rd in observance for Labor Day, September 16th, October 7th, October 21st, November 4th at the Village Hall for election, November 18th, December 2nd, and December 16th. I will also have this this posted online, just like this, and on the Facebook page, so that there's no confusion of when the meetings are. If it is not stated on there, they will generally be in the village, at this park at 6:30 p.m. For any clarification. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn? Yes, thank you. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.